Well, today we're going to see Bruce Graham at the Art and Theater in Philadelphia. I'm really excited. He's a playwright. He's done a lot of really cool stuff. Dunston Checks In, Anastasia, the movie. So he definitely has written a lot of plays and for TV shows.
So what were you like when you were our age?
IUP, well, this is 1975 and I'm a freshman. And IUP was a little smaller. The town was a little smaller. And the department, I was in the theater department, was actually part of the English department. So we didn't even have a real department. I went there because it was 300 miles from home. It was cheap, and the female to male ratio was 4-to-1, which in theater makes it 10-to-1. So I said, this is my kind of school. And I wasn't there 3 weeks and had already gotten in a show as an actor, which is what my training is, not a playwright. The thing about IUP that was great was that you had to do everything. You know, we produced our own dinner theater in the old student union. And we're hanging lights one day and realized, these aren't too secure. Let's get wire hangers, you know, and double secure them. So we took all the coat rack hangers, and that's what we did. But that's how you do theater. No one's going to hand you a perfect situation. And so you got to ad lib, you got to be creative, and sometimes you got to steal things out of the coat room.
When writing your plays or acting, do you find yourself using things that you learned at IUP?
Oh yeah, well, like I said, it was funny for years. You could look at my work as my Western Pennsylvania plays and my Eastern Pennsylvania plays. Moon Over the Brewery although in my mind it takes place in Pottsville, which is more east, but it's a very IUP small town feeling to it. Like I said, I never lived in a small town, you know, and for 4 years I was in a small town, and it really taught me a lot about, first of all, finding a sandwich, but secondly, just a different attitude. Listen to my Philly accent here. A different way of life. Minor Demons is an IUP play. You know, that takes place in Pittsburgh. Early Evenings at Rainbow Bar and Grill, like I said, is Patty's Bar. Moon Over the Brewery, you know, is a Coal Town play. Dex and Julie Sitting in a Tree is IUP, you know, right? So in that respect, yeah, I can't shake it.
You said that when you were attending IUP, it was the music department, the theater department was kind of developing. Do you think that you left any kind of mark or changed it in any way?
We started some traditions. We started the improv comedy thing. We started the dinner theater. We started producing original plays. So we did, in that respect, make a mark. I understand there was an improv group that came in after us called Three Guys Named Bruce or something. I don't know if it's an homage to me, I hope not. So these are things that IUP had never seen before. They didn't see, you know, originally there were 3 of us, 3 college kids booking Fisher Auditorium. And we lied. We used a bogus fraternity, Alpha Psi Omega, which had gone under years before, because you had to be a fraternity to sign the thing out. So we said we were Alpha Psi Omega. It was the theater fraternity. I was president. I went and said, how much is in the treasury? They said $80. I said, party! We wiped out the treasury, but we still had the charter. So we booked Fisher Auditorium, got the guys we lived with to run Spotlight and take the door. 1,602 seats. We charged $1 a seat. And I'm thinking, hey, we're going to make a quick 400, 500 bucks. I was rehearsing a play in Waller. I was doing Equus. And I come out and I see a line across the Oak Grove. I said, we got to be funny. And we're college kids in 1976 with $1,600 cash. We were back in the house throwing these dollar bills. And we had a guy rappel, you know what that is with the ropes, out of the Cove lights. If you know Fisher Auditorium, how big it is. We started the show by, Mark Bernardo will not be appearing tonight, and Elmer and I started the show, and with that you hear, yo! Well, we won't say what he yelled, and the spotlights go up and a rope drops into like the 3rd row, and there's Bernardo in a white suit rappelling, you know, because he can never remember his lines. So, they tied me up, man! The next year, how are we going to top that? We drove a car on stage. When Elmer made his entrance, the back doors open, the lights went out, I'm out there starting the show, and he drives out, he gets out with a road map going, is this the way to Clymer? You know, and that's, and whatever was on campus that week, I mean, this is back, Jim Jones puts the poison in the Kool-Aid, the grape Kool-Aid. So we went out and we bought cartons of grape Kool-Aid, autographed it, Best Wishes, Hazel's Neighbors, that was the name of it, and we would do the Anal Roberts Crusade. That's how we always ended the show, with different things. And so we ran into Fisher Auditorium tossing grape Kool-Aid. All right, how are we going to top that? The next year, the Gideons come on campus, giving out those little green Bibles. We ran into the green room saying, everybody in the theater, out, get as many Bibles as you can. If I wasn't going to hell before I am now, we autographed the Bibles. Best Wishes, Hazel's Neighbors. So when the show is ending, we're tossing Bibles to the audience in Fisher Auditorium. And I don't think these things will ever be repeated, but this is what we did. And so other students saw, hey, maybe we can do comedy, you know. I like the fact that I go back every couple of years to workshops and to show that, hey, there is life after theater, after college theater. I know there's a guy I graduated with who runs a very successful children's theater down south. So there are some of us who can come back and say, hey, it's tough, but if you've got to want it. You got to want it really bad. You can't say, boy, I'd like it. No, 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 no. You got to want it.
A lot of times students go to college not knowing what they want to do, or they think they know what they want to do and it changes. You said you always wanted to be a playwright. How did you know that's what you wanted to do?
Well, first of all, I'm 52 and I'm still not really sure what I want to do, so don't feel, if you know what you want to do at your age, that's great. And there's nothing wrong if you don't know what you want to do. I just knew I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. Don't rush into respond. If you're not sure you're going to be happy with something, don't burden yourself with things. Go read Thoreau, all right? You don't own a car owns you. If you're not sure what you want to do, don't put a bunch of anchors around your neck. Keep as free and as light and as fast moving as you can.
What kind of personal satisfaction do you get out of being a playwright?
The biggest thrill I got when I was in high school, we had we had no theater department. It was football. Ridley was a football powerhouse. And we had this dumpy little, theater department, if you will. And we got a lecture room and started doing one-act plays. And I wrote a one-act and directed it, which is a mistake, but I did it anyway. And I remember standing in the back of the theater listening to the audience respond, going, that is so cool. Because usually I'm on stage as an actor hearing them respond, and now I was like manipulating them in the back. And it was a real kind of feeling of, if I wasn't a writer, I'd probably be like a serial killer or a dictator or something, a sniper. So I get all this out, through that. And I do. I get a real ego boost out of knowing you look back at the end and say, hey, I've entertained literally with movies and TV and theaters of millions of people. They don't know my name. That's fine with me. As long as they get it right on the check, I'm fine. Yeah. But, you like to think you left and you did. I'm not going to find a cure for cancer or anything. Well, maybe next week, but I'm working on that in my basement. So, you feel like you've done something.
What is one of the greatest risks that you've taken in your career?
The greatest risk, I think, was quitting a full-time job. I had I was tenured faculty and in a nice school district that liked me and supported my writing habit, all they could. And they gave me a year off to go to grad school. I went to Villanova, and that was my excuse. I'm going to get my master's. And I ended up just seeing if I could make a living as a writer. I'll never forget my father, who was very blue collar, my friends, my relatives are all like, are you nuts? Walking away from a job where, they can't fire you unless you set the school on fire or something. And I said, no, I got to try this.
Do you have any parting words for IUP students that are getting ready to graduate?
Well, don't worry that you don't know where you want to go if you're 19, 20, 22. Don't let that frighten you. You have, I always tell my students writing a play, you have to know sort of where it ends up. Maybe I'm going to California. I don't know if I'm going to San Diego, San Francisco, or LA. I have a direction. Most times you have some sort of direction. There's something that interests you, whether it's on the math and science end, medicine, law, theater, something realistic. You have an interest. Try and find something that's going to play to that interest, and then be realistic, that no one is ever handed, unless you're, Charlie in the Chocolate Factory and this is what you want to do the rest of your life, you're never going to get the perfect situation, so you make the best of it. Jeffrey Katzenberg, guy who co-owns DreamWorks, said something years ago that he says, you knock on the front door. They don't let you in the front door, you go to the back door. They don't let you in the back door, you tap on the window. Then you go to the basement door, and then you go back to the front door, and eventually they're going to open a door or a window. You're going to get in, but you can't give up.
Bruce was really great. I really liked him a lot. He was down to earth, he was funny. He had a lot of great things to say. I liked what he said about knocking on the window, knocking on the door. Eventually they'll let you in, because that's kind of like, you're not always going to have doors open for you. And it's just really good to hear someone who's so down to earth say that. And he's grounded in reality, and I really like that about him. It's been helpful to hear that, because you know that you're not always going to make $1 million with what you're doing. You're going to be doing what you love to do, and he's living proof of that. And it's great to hear from him. And I hope people can relate to that, and I know I certainly did.